Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. Wash your fucking hands. My name is Josh. With me, I have Joe.
Stay home.
And Jimmy.
We hit the explicit within 4 seconds.
Hey, you know.
The opening of the show.
I think that was important for the world to know.
We record this podcast like 2 weeks in advance, so like the world's gonna be much different. Like by the time this
in
airs,
2 weeks,
probably gonna be worse.
Quarantined.
It's probably going to be worse.
We'll be recording this podcast from our homes.
this is gonna be a nice little
via
like time capsule of like, oh, remember 2 weeks
FaceTime.
ago when we were saying wash your hands, and
Remember when
now
we
we're
all
like,
still had
and now we're
hands
and now we're eating our neighbors.
just to get their TP.
Now we're washing our neighbors' hands before we eat them.
ooh,
Yeah, I mean you don't want
let's
to.
share some hand recipes.
Oh,
Roasted hand.
Lowry's salt.
It's just Lowry salt.
honey baked hand.
Remove
It's just ham recipes, but with
Honey
hand
baked.
instead.
honey baked hand. Joe, what's this podcast for the people that don't know?
It's cannibalism.
It's about cannibalism.
We take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode. So it's different from your like typical TV podcasts where they like know things about TV.
And they do research like dummies.
Yeah, we're winging it, but you get to experience us learning about a show together. It's a communal experience.
It's for science.
It's for science. So
Is that the excuse we're starting to make? No.
yeah, it's science.
It's a case study for
This-
watching TV quickly. For you got to have the content,
Yeah. A lot of times it pays off where a show has like a good
especially during
ending that
coronavirus.
ties to the beginning, and sometimes it really doesn't. We'll see.
We shall see. You picked the show this week too, Joe.
I did. I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
I know. You toiled, boiled, and toiled.
And
I
toiled some
couldn't
more.
think of other words.
I
that
couldn't
rhyme.
figure out how the witches say it. What show are we doing?
So this week we're doing 30 Rock.
Ah.
Excellent.
Full disclosure, I've been watching 30 Rock.
Yeah.
I'm on like season 4 of it. Like I was sick with a regular flu a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You claim.
Patience over here.
So you
Um,
say.
That didn't even sound like a cough or anything. That was I don't know. What
I
that was.
coughed on my way to the recording tonight, and I thought about texting. Do I still come?
That's fine.
Am I out?
You're across the room. You're fine.
Yeah. I can cough all I want over here.
But then when I was sick, I was like, 30 Rock. Huh. Have I seen all this show? And I'm pretty convinced there's 7 seasons. It went 7 seasons, 138 episodes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And as I'm watching it,
Nice.
I'm like, I don't think there's a possible way that I've seen the last season or 2. I feel like
I don't.
there's no way.
Yeah,
Just
I
because.
watched pretty regularly up to maybe like season 5 or so.
Okay. So I've definitely seen the pilot recently-ish.
Yeah.
It was half pilot watching, half fever dream.
It was
Really. But like I've seen enough of 30 Rock to know. I think we've all seen this show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My, long-time listener, first-time caller, wife. None of that's correct. Who's been on the pod, friend of the pod, has binge watched this. I think multiple times since we've started dating.
Oh, so it's like her go-to show almost.
She has a couple, but this is definitely one of them.
Nice.
And I've been around for a lot of it. I'm pretty sure I've lived with you, Josh, while you've been watching this.
I'm
and
sure that
I've
was the last time I
passed through.
watched the show. Like until now,
Yeah,
when I
could
just
be.
was like, "Oh, it's great," and it just happens to be a good like, "Oh, I'm grinding and I'm playing an RPG and I'm grinding or something like that," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, pop in like an episode."
Yeah, how
of
much are you really watching this show versus it's just on
A lot of it. A lot
while
of it, like
you're
the.
playing something or doing something?
I mean, I'm on season like 4, I think, right now, and I would say if that means I've watched 70 episodes of this show, I would say I was asleep for 20. But it's just like. But it's
Yeah,
just like
that's good
as
to
it's
know.
going, it's going. But like I'm
Yeah.
watching it and I'm like, I remember that character,
That's
that
also
new
how
character
Michelle
kind of
watches
thing.
TV.
Well, I mean, it would be different if it was a show I've never ever seen. But it's just
Sure.
30 Rock. It's funny. It's good. It's ridiculous. But
It's
like if
so
I'm watching
good.
and I fall asleep and it goes to the next one,
It's a very quotable show.
then I
from
just
what I
keep
remember.
hitting play.
I've recently, because it was Leap Day, watched the Leap Day William episode.
I was watching an episode and they were like, it's like February 8th or something like that. And I was like, oh, it's like February 9th. I missed it by a day, like on accident. I don't think I've seen the Leap Day episode.
I think it's later. Yeah. There's it's about Leap Day.
I like that you and Claire are very like, we're nearing this day. Let's find TV shows that take place.
Google Leap Day shows episodes.
This show is pretty obviously executive produced by Tina Fey, who's also one of the stars and created by of this show. She's a geniusly hilarious lady. Props to her because this show's a masterpiece.
She can do no wrong
in part by her mind grapes.
I get that. I've seen that episode.
Yeah.
I'd read on the Wikipedia that initially she was pitching a show to NBC about like the inner workings of a like cable news show, and they were like, "Hey, like, what if you just wrote about like producing a show like SNL that you're already a writer on? Like, what if you just wrote about something like very true to life?"
Okay.
And then that's how 30 Rock came up.
Okay, I like that. That's fun.
So then did she later, so I was saying maybe before we recorded this, she did Great News. So was that like she finally got around to doing the news show?
I got some ideas about news.
I never
though.
saw that, but I wanted to.
Yeah,
it only lasted a season, I think.
Other big hitter. There's a lot of big. I feel like there's a lot of big hitters in the show. Tracy Morgan's in the show as Tracy Jordan.
So good.
Which is funny. And
Alex Baldwin.
He's hilarious. Alec Baldwin. Like, I mean, besides 30 Rock, I feel like I always thought of Alec Baldwin as like a movie star.
Yeah, like a 90s actor.
Yeah, and then
maybe
then
late
he went,
80s.
I don't know 100% sure, but I think he
like
went
89, isn't it?
77 seasons in this crazy show. And then Jane Krakowski's in it. She's dope.
88.
She's hilarious.
Wrong.
Yeah.
So basically, 30 Rock's. There's a SNL type show called TGS, which was originally called The Girly Show.
I forget that.
The name of it's The Girly Show. and because then I think I'm just gonna describe essentially what happens in the, if I can remember correctly from a few weeks ago. Jack Donaghy, which is Alec Baldwin's character, gets the job and he's in charge of like broadcasting and microwaves at NBC. And then he tells Liz Lemon, who is Tina Fey's character, that hey, we need to add a new person, a third heat, because of his trifection oven. I might remember this fully. And he said, I picked Tracy Jordan. You have to go meet with him, and if you say it's not a good fit, then that's cool, but I think you will. And then she goes and meets with him. They decide to actually join forces, and then he joins the show. And so the Girly Show just becomes TGS, which just is SNL, with those two, him and Jane Krakowski, who is Jenna in the show. That's her name.
Yeah.
And then the whole show is just like the hilarity that ensues with two actors that are just over the top crazy, but then also Liz's relationship with Jack Donaghy, her the head honcho boss guy.
Yeah, who's kind of a mentor and like, but also just thinks in a very business-like manner, opposite of her creative mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to be Lorne?
I guess so.
I mean,
Lauren
Lauren is one of the
Michaels?
EPs for sure on this show.
But like, if she's writing from like her own experience on SNL, it's Jack Donaghy, Lorne Michaels.
Probably.
I would guess
probably some inspiration coming.
Yeah,
from
I would guess like Jack Donaghy is just like a conglomerate of like the bosses that she'd had.
Sure.
It's a mix of like
Universal.
Lorne Michael and every other like white boss man.
Jack
white
Donaghy Canadian, because that would be telling.
Definitely not.
Okay.
No.
He's
Anti-Canadian.
He's from the Northeast. Like,
Boston, I think,
sure.
maybe?
Probably
Massachusetts for sure.
Probably Boston.
I don't know.
I don't think he grew up in Boston.
Maybe even New York. I don't
Forget
remember.
about it.
Harvard. I can't do it.
Can't do it. Also, Donald Glover was a writer on the show.
Oh, was he?
That's right.
There was
That's
an
right. I knew
episode
that.
in this show that I watched maybe a week ago, and like there's like a group of people, and someone's like something, and I'm like, was that Donald Glover?
Yeah.
And then I like rewound. I was like, it's worth a rewind, and I rewinded it, and I was like, Donald Glover. He's just like wearing like an elf costume or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was a writer.
Yeah.
He was like one of the youngest on the staff.
18 years old or something crazy. He's
Childish
super
Gambino
young.
is a Renaissance man.
Because that was before Community,
Mhm.
and he looks crazy young on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a young boy.
Yeah. They said that
He's
I
just a small
read on
child.
the IMDb that he like was still living at like an NYU dorm when he was writing on the show.
Dang, how are you gonna be so talented that you? Oh man,
Joe, I'm gonna. I don't remember if I've made you describe this to me on the podcast, or it was just like we were hanging out in like an intimate session, and I told you to say this. 30 Rock episodes are produced in a single cam,
Yes.
but except for apparently there was 2 live episodes that were multicam,
Uh-huh.
and
Sure.
I still don't think I grasp what the difference between a single cam sitcom and a multicam sitcom is.
Like the biggest way to tell is like a single cam or like a multi-cam is typically like shot in front of a live studio audience.
Okay.
Like, has that kind of feel. And like the term comes from like in single cam, you're like shooting from one camera at a time. So like you're shooting like this perspective, and then you're gonna like move the camera and shoot the same scene again, but just from a different perspective.
Okay.
Whereas like in like multicam with a live studio audience, you're like just running the scene once, but you're just like cutting between the 2 cameras.
Okay, so like they're doing the same. So you say if you're in Liz Lemon's office
Mhm.
and you're talking, and she's like behind her desk talking to Jack.
Right.
There's one camera maybe like over her shoulder or something looking
Uh-huh.
at Jack, and maybe there's another camera just showing both of them talking.
Mhm.
In a single cam, they would just act the show twice,
Right.
that scene twice.
Right.
But in multicam, they would just do it all at once
And
with
like
both
shoot it
cameras.
from the side
Yeah.
so that you could see both characters, and you could maybe move behind 2 different cameras.
Okay.
But there'd be like one wall of the geometry that's where the audience is.
Okay. So there's a wall.
Like any, like Seinfeld or
yeah,
How I Met Your Mother, where it's just like it's
it
just
makes
this
it
perspective.
kind of less dimensional almost.
Mhm.
I was just trying to figure out that because
It's like
it would,
always the one side of Jerry's apartment that you never really see,
Right,
like
exactly.
the TV
Mhm.
side.
oh yeah, you never see that.
Everyone's looking.
So like
towards it.
in a single cam show, you would probably see that side at some point.
Right, you would see Jerry's TV.
You would basically you can tell eventually if you
Interesting.
watch like 5 episodes of a show and you don't hear a lot, and a live studio audience isn't like a giveaway
Uh-huh.
potentially. And if you see all 4 corners of a room, then you're like single cam.
Plus
Or
now,
multicam.
Or
That-
else magic, because how else
Yeah,
did they shoot it?
yeah.
Plus now there's no such thing as a live student in the audience because of Corona.
Oh my gosh,
Fair enough.
these jokes are gonna be so dated.
Dude, it's not going to go away in 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have much left before we just get into it. I mean, I think we all know this pilot episode really, well enough, as in like the minute we start seeing it, we're going to be like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's
feel like
happening.
I kind of remember.
So it's going to be interesting because we get to come at it a different way of, we're very knowledgeable about at least this pilot.
Yeah.
So let's judge it on how does it do? How does it bring us into the show and tell us who the characters are?
Yep.
And like give us like a sending off point.
Yeah, and I've pocketed some fun facts. Just saving them.
Ooh, good job. You know what's up. You're a true entertainer.
Yep.
All right. All right, cool. So let's get into it, and we'll see you after the pilot episode of 30 Rock, which do I trust them? Do I trust them? I can't get to I was trying to banter a little bit to get to the season 1 episode list, and then I messed it up. And then I'm still talking a little bit. It's called pilot. God damn it.
Yeah,
All right, we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see you after that. It's time to introduce the third heat. Jimmy.
Huh?
No, we're done with the pilot episode of
Pasta
30 Rock.
Jordan.
Pasta Jim Spaghetti Man. Do you got a write-up for us?
Yeah.
What is it?
Okay, so this is the first episode of 30 Rock entitled Pilot. Liz Lemon is called upstairs to meet the new network exec, Jack Donaghy, who instructs her to hire a movie star, Tracy Jordan, to draw a young male audience to The Girly Show, which is basically SNL for middle-aged women?
And gays, according to Jack.
And older gays?
Yeah,
That's what
just
he
older
said?
gays. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's hire Tracy Jordan to reach a younger male
Oh, was
audience.
that was like the whole write up right there?
Yeah, that
It
was
very
it.
fast. I mean, yeah. They get a new boss. His name is Jack.
Mhm.
He says, Liz, you got to go talk to Tracy Jordan. I think you should be on your show. She's like, if I go and we both agree no, then it'll be no. And he's like, sure. Then she goes and visits Tracy Jordan. They eat lunch. They go to a strip club. They decide to go back to the show to
Yeah.
like throw it in Jack's face.
Yeah, that she's gonna quit.
Pete, her like producer, gets fired.
Mm.
Then she negotiates with Jack to rehire Pete, make sure that Jenna, the other actress, is surely gonna stay on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And one other thing, I don't remember what it was. Not as
A coffee machine
coffee machine. Not as
for the
important.
writer's room.
And that all happens, and then so she agrees to stay on and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
do the show. So I feel like in the end, there's like two clear tensions
Mm-hmm.
that are there, and it's a tension between Jack and Liz, and
Yep.
then a tension between Tracy and Jenna. Because like right at the end, Tracy's like, I can't wait to do this every week with you.
Mm-hmm.
We've already gotten a little like Jenna
Jenna's-
as a crazy
Jenna jealousy.
actor
Mm-hmm.
during the show, and also just Tracy being an unstable person.
Mm-hmm.
So
So yeah, and that conflict between what's her names, Tracy and Jenna, like is gonna boil over into Liz's stuff because she's in charge of this whole thing.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of ties together all of the like central conflict of the show, just like in that last scene.
yeah, it all ties together in the end. I think the pilot paints a good picture of who those four characters are, at least,
Mm-hmm.
and what their motivations going forward are.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete is a supporting character. We
Mhm.
don't know a whole bunch about him besides he like works with Liz.
Yeah.
And
He's
then
like gonna be a big deal.
and then
Some
Kenneth
writers.
is also a side character who's a page at NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he becomes a bigger character throughout the seasons, like a more of a main character, but we didn't get a lot of him.
Yeah.
But he was still around a little
Mhm.
bit. He helped a little bit. I mean, all in all, I think it set it up. Let us know what the show was about.
Mhm.
Introduced us 4 main characters. Set us off. Hey, this is what to expect. Do you want to watch the show?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's Tina Fey. And I'll just watch whenever she's on there.
Yeah. But it is kind of interesting that in this first episode, like everything goes from like
Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
I just kicked Joe's mic.
Yeah, your phones didn't explode. It's just technical difficulties. But yeah, it's kind of the typical sitcom thing where like things are cruising along for each of these characters, and then all of a sudden, with just like this one day, everything just changes, and now they're in a new situation.
I mean, pretty typical. It's pretty typical in the way of like, yeah, new person comes
Mm-hmm.
and then messes everything up,
Mm-hmm.
or like changes the dynamic of the group, and that's how they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like
Gotta
as far
shake
as
it
like
up.
a typical sitcom, maybe like Friends or something like that, it doesn't seem as maybe like in your face obvious. We're like, hey, this is a new person, the driving factor of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of seemed like this was like the first Monday of March in here, and it was like, oh, we got a new boss today, kind of thing. I don't know. It just feels a little more natural
Mm-hmm.
how they did it than some sitcoms do it.
Sure.
I don't know if that's true or if I just have a bias towards this show a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel either way about that. I just feel like at the end of the episode, there is a feeling, even though it's like just a comedy and it's not a drama or anything, there is a feeling of like, okay, what happens next?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
things are kind of up in the air still, and you're just like, okay, now what's gonna happen?
Yeah, they did a good job of like right at the end, Tracy like looked at Jenna and was just like, ready for this? And then she did a really good face of like, oh shit, wait, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And so even though they didn't interact the whole episode, we got enough of each of them separately to like know that, oh, they're not gonna mash well together.
Yeah.
At least right away.
Fun. It was a fun thing to hold till right at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, like there's like tension, but like basically half the episode is Liz Lemon is off on this lunch meeting with Tracy Jordan that turns into like an all-day thing, and then she finds out that her producer's been fired, and that she just hates this guy, and like, how dare he come into my show that I've been working forever for, and she's gonna go tell him off. But then all the while, like, the show has started because it's live, and it's going terribly, and there's cats clawing and biting Jenna, the star. And then Liz comes in and saves it at the end, and has Tracy go out there and
It's
just
kind of
riff.
It's kind of interesting in a way that like each of the characters like by the end of this episode like learn something that they were previously like wrong about. Like Jack thought he could just like run the show by himself and he could just apply his business stuff to it, and he was wrong. And like Liz found out that like Jack was actually right about adding Tracy Jordan to the mix is really gonna like make audiences happy, and she learned that. Tracy learned that maybe TV could be fun
Because he was like, I'm a movie star.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm too big for this. I don't want to be on TV.
What did Jenna learn, Joe?
Maybe she just like the thing that she learned was that prior to this, she was just like the star and everybody's attention was on her and she got everything she wanted. And now maybe that's not true anymore.
I mean, she's probably, if she didn't learn that, she's definitely worried about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. One other thing they did right at the very beginning of the episode was like Liz was waiting for like a hot dog and some dude like skipped the line and she argued with him. Mm-hmm. And they made a point to like kind of show that like Liz follows rules and then gets really, really mad when people also don't follow rules and like makes then makes it a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, so she bought all of the hot dogs in this in the thing and gave it to people.
Are you setting this up because you think in the finale there's going to be like a buttload of hot dogs?
Oh, my first prediction is just hot dogs all in capital letters.
Multiple dogs.
But I also think they like did a good job of like right away they were like, this is who this person is. Mm-hmm. She's like a creative writer, but she also kind of like has a stick up her butt.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like,
sure.
This is how I think things should work, and if they don't work like that, like follow the rules or like get out of my face.
That creates conflict.
Yeah.
And then when we meet Jack for the first time, they go up to his office and he's just renovating the entire office. And they're like, "What are you doing? This is a nice place." And he's like, "Yeah, it was nice, but like now I'm making it like for me, and like sometimes you come in and like just redo something that's already good."
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly like what. And then he was like, "Oh, also your show." And she's like, "Oh, I see. You fix things that aren't broken."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
been there. Am I right?
Right. What?
Huh?
I want to introduce you guys to our fourth heat. Somebody new from the podcast. Hello,
it's Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Does that make me the Jenna of this podcast?
Yeah.
The diva?
Yes,
Jimmy.
You guys are placing me.
You're the diva.
Did you guys notice I'm putting hemorrhoid cream under my eyes?
Yeah, you were just doing it while we were watching the show. You don't even hide it anymore.
All right.
Little fun fact. So, Jack Donaghy is the head of whatever TV programming or whatever.
/ microwaves.
Yeah. Who's played by Alec Baldwin. Initially, John Hamm auditioned for the role.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah,
he's in this show later.
Yeah. He plays like one of Liz's boyfriends.
Yeah,
nice.
But yeah, he would make a good Jack Donaghy. I feel like
he probably would have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like think of like, because now it's like
I don't know if
this
he can be as
role
snarky.
is Alec Baldwin in my mind,
Yeah.
but John Hamm's pretty good.
And it's this is pre Mad Men, right? So it might have
Oh
changed that whole
wow, John
trajectory.
Hamm gets this role.
And
Yeah.
Alec
Mrs. Mad
Baldwin
Men.
becomes a madman.
Mad Men. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'd watch those things in a parallel universe.
And like this is a kind of more well-known one, but the role of Jenna was originally written for Rachel Dratch, but then after the first pilot, they swapped her out for Jane Krakowski, and then
Do I know who Rachel Dratch is?
Yeah, she's the cat lady.
she's the cat lady in this, and she's in SNL.
This. She's
Oh.
in this show a lot.
I didn't know that was her name. I don't think.
Yeah, she's from SNL, so longtime friend
I
of
don't
Tina
think
Fey.
that
Yeah.
would have been as good as
She
having
was
Jane
just on the
Krakowski.
most recent SNL.
Yeah, she was. I don't. Yeah, okay. I
Debbie-
see it.
Debbie
she's,
Downer,
She's
right?
Yeah,
great.
it's Debbie Downer.
She's a really good comedic actress. Like very, very good.
Yeah. So instead, for the
Mhm.
first season, she just
She
plays
must not
like
have
random
tested
bit
well.
roles.
Yeah. But I just feel like
Mm.
Jane Krakowski does a really good job of like pulling out like I'm a crazy person.
Mhm.
What was
Yeah.
what was that show that we watched that she was in where that guy from Heroes, Siler, was
Oh.
like wall sitting?
That was
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenna was in that?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was running like she was God, she's running that company. I think it was called White Power or White
That's it was something like that.
because her last name was
Yeah,
White
Now I remember.
in that show.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty good. She was over the top in that. She
Oh,
just
now
plays
I
that
know.
like crazy
Skylar,
character
yeah, okay.
really, really, really well.
Mhm.
Like that's a typecast and it should stay that way because she's really good at it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, going into this, I already knew it all in all, but this show sold me. It's good. This pilot makes me want to keep watching the show. I will tune in next week.
Sure. Yeah. It's got jokes.
Rachel Dratch alone. And the page.
Oh,
Kenneth
just-
the page.
Just the cat lady.
And they did a little bit with the writers. That was funny to kind of set up that whole thing. Guy with his hats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Each of the writers kind of has a thing.
Yeah. The one like smart black writer doesn't like Tracy Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I think they make a joke of him as like he doesn't like really like other black people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's good. It's good.
All
Watch it.
all characters in the show are really good, and they are fleshed out where you can you know what their personalities are like,
Mm-hmm.
and even some of those writers you can kind of get like if you were paying enough attention,
Hmm.
you would be like, oh, I think I even understand who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Like that doesn't happen a lot, so it's thoughtful, even though it's extremely silly.
Yeah.
When is this show in comparison to Mean Girls?
Mean Girls was
04?
03 or 04.
and this was April 2027.
April 27,
2007.
2007.
Incorrect.
2006?
Yes.
Oh no, that was the last
October
episode. Sorry,
2006.
last episode of season 1 was April 2007, and then it ended in January 2013.
Yeah, so after Mean Girls.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because I was watching Mean Girls in college, and I was done
On
with college.
repeat. Okay.
Should we get into predictions?
I'm interested to see what your guys' predictions are.
Would you like me to read mine first?
No.
Okay, Joe. What are your predictions? Jimmy's being mean.
If
I think we mentioned this before, but I have that Liz buys a hot dog. That might be
Gosh, she
slightly
better.
different than ones you guys have,
she
but
better, right?
I have a hot
specifically
dog
buys a hot dog.
related
Yeah, I
one,
don't have
but
that.
yeah. I have TGS has a new head writer. It's no longer Liz Lemon. Tracy Jordan.
Kenneth.
Tracy Jordan has a non-entertainment job at NBC.
like he's a page.
Yeah,
That'd be
he's
funny.
He's something corporate, like
Hmm.
not like an actor or a writer or director or something. He's just a guy
The
in a suit.
band.
Yeah, he's a guy in a suit at NBC. I think in this episode Jenna sings.
She does sing a
Wait,
lot
you
during the
noticed?
show.
In the show.
No, I don't know. Have any of us, I think we might have said this earlier offhand, but have any of us either seen this last episode or haven't, or just think we haven't?
I'm
pretty
pretty sure,
confident I've never seen it.
I'm pretty sure I have seen it.
Okay, but you...
I don't remember anything about
Okay.
it.
I'm pretty positive I have not seen it.
Okay, good.
Because I think I came back for this show for the last season.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I don't do that with shows.
Yeah.
I just go, cool.
Circle back. Oh, this is still on?
I watched the first season of Lost and then watched the very last episode of Lost once.
Well, I mean, we all watched the first.
Well, I did that before. I did that before we did that. All right. So my first prediction is hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
In all caps.
Yeah.
So if there's only one hot dog. no
I
points.
guess I need at least 2 hot
you're-
dogs.
Yeah.
F's.
Shit.
Ah.
Number 2, I think TGS ends.
Okay. Just ends.
Ends.
Like even SNL has
Say
an ending.
TGF?
TGS.
Like TGIF?
TGI.
TGIS? Does this show air on Saturdays?
No.
Do we know when it airs?
Thank God Saturdays.
I think Thursdays.
Wednesdays.
Hmm.
There's a live show on a Thursday?
Oh, like in the universe of the show? I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about 30 Rock.
Oh, yeah. No, TGS in the universe.
I would
of
like
the
to
show.
know both of those.
I think number 3, Jack wears a tuxedo,
Okay.
which ties into my number 4. I think they're gonna go tropey, and Liz gets married.
To Jack?
No,
No. Just married.
I don't.
He's in a tux
There's
because he's at
there's
the wedding.
nothing about Liz and Jack that would make sense if they got married.
Jack's wearing a tux at someone else's wedding.
I think he's wearing a tux at Liz's wedding, but he's just so classy. He wears tuxes. He also would probably be in the wedding party.
I read a thing that said that when the show was over, Alec Baldwin like bought all of Jack Donaghy's suits because just he liked them so much.
No,
Yeah, I mean, they're
what
tailored
else?
to him.
Yeah,
Who's gonna use them?
They're his. And then I have a 5th one because I thought this show of all shows, it has a lot of celebrity people coming through. Like Matt Damon's in it for a while.
Excellent.
You know, that's a big
cameo.
That's a big name. Julianne Moore is in this show for a while.
Nice.
So my celebrity cameo for the last episode is Brad Pitt.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it.
Plausible.
Yeah, that's
See
why
it?
I said it.
Like a gruffy hipster Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
Probably like just riding by on a bike or something.
I don't care what he does as long as he's there.
All right.
Cool.
Those are it. I will say I have 5 with my celebrity
Ooh, you have
cameo.
5.
So if you guys
You
want to
son of
add a
bee.
celebrity cameo guest,
Yeah.
I have a
It'll
celebrity
make it fair.
cameo guess, and it's one of my predictions, and then it's that there's 3 or more cameos in this finale.
3 or more.
3 celeb
Yeah.
cameos.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi's in this show for a
Seems
while.
controversial.
I feel like by the end of this show, with all the cameos that happened during it, because this is a real finale, right?
Yeah.
We're assuming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People
7
know this
seasons.
is happening.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think people are dropping by. To
This show
sign
was
off.
too good. I bet I could have won 2 more seasons.
Yeah. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what we count as a cameo.
Yes, we'll have to see.
Yeah, whoa. Okay.
Lassie doesn't count as a celebrity cameo. I'm telling you that right now.
If Lassie was a real
And I would say
living
Rachel
dog,
Dretch doesn't count. What's her name?
Rachel Dratch,
That doesn't count either.
just because she's in the show.
I feel
quite
like
a bit.
people from SNL don't count as celebrity cameos.
I mean,
That just means they're just down the hall, probably.
yeah. What? So when did this end? 2013.
Movie stars.
I couldn't even tell you who was on SNL in 2013.
Well, hopefully
Tina
it's
Fey,
Kenan
as far as
Thompson.
I know. Well, okay, that's fair. Okay, so my other predictions are that Jack retires in this finale, and that Liz is going to be the new Jack.
I could definitely see a passing of the torch in that manner.
I think Tracy is in some like movie. He's doing some shtick. Maybe he's leaving the TV game back to movie game.
Fat bitch 6.
I'm sure that's something I don't understand. And then, is that a movie series he's in?
It's a movie he's in, yeah.
Okay. And then I think there are hints in this finale to a spin-off. Maybe even jokingly, but I think it'll be an obvious thing.
That sounds like a good bet, yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Got a lot of subjectives there. Better be keeping track. Because no, I won't be. I'll be counting hot dogs.
Be busy counting hot dogs.
No, not a hot dog.
1, 2.
That's a Cobb salad.
Well, I guess we'll go to season 7, episode 13, the last episode of 30 Rock, entitled Last Lunch.
Okay.
And we'll see after that.
All right.
And we're back. We finished the last episode of 30 Rock called Last Lunch, or Hogcock.
Hogcock.
Which is
hot.
a mix of hogwash and poppycock.
Yeah.
Learned that in this episode. So that was a thing that happened. Do you have a write-up, Jim?
I do. Okay, so last lunch. Liz is dealing with being a stay-at-home mom while Jack tries to find true happiness. Kenneth and Tracy are both adjusting to Kenneth's new position as president of NBC. The end.
Yeah, apparently Kenneth is president of NBC and Jack is Cabletown's CEO, which is the parent company.
Which he then quits.
Yeah. Liz isn't working, but she decides to try to look for a job, and Kenneth wants to do one more episode of TGS because in it, Tracy Jordan's contractually obligated to get an extra $30 million.
Mm-hmm. If they get to 150.
If they get to 150.
Wait. He's say it again? Contractually obligated to give back $30 million if they make it that far. So that's why Kenneth wants them to do it. He calls her in and says, he's got some weird stuff in his contract. We want you to make this episode, Liz, because then he has to give us back $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
And that's why he's trying to get out of it the whole time.
I thought Tracy
Why would
was
he want to
acting
get
like,
out if he was getting all that money?
Well, Tracy was acting like he wanted to get out of it because he didn't want to say goodbye.
Well, also that. Yeah, because he says later, like, I don't care about the money. I don't want to say goodbye. That was a line that he said for those of us following along.
I thought he didn't want to do it, and then he said he was sad. So
we're gonna pause this. We're gonna go back. We're gonna watch it again. Everybody, stay tuned.
First and last, and last,
and last again. Are you gonna Google the transcript?
What I was trying to Google is Liz keeps going on a website called GothamMoms.com.
Mm-hmm.
You want that on your Google search? Google history.
But I don't think it's a real website. I wanted to see if it was a real website. Liz keeps going on a thing called GothamMoms.com. And she's arguing with people because she doesn't have a job, so she's bored. And she goes to the park to like meet up with another mom to like have a fight. Mm-hmm. And it turns out to be her
husband,
boyfriend, husband, whatever. She has like 2 kids.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No,
it's not a thing that you've seen. Okay. I didn't know that.
And then they're like, oh, and he's like, I hate working, and she's like, I just want to work. So they kind of find out that they want to switch roles in their relationship. And then Pete, the producer or whatever the show is, just keeps dropping hints about how he's gonna fake his death.
Mm-hmm.
And working on it, but then right at the end, like his wife pulls up and he's like jogging like a year later, and she's like, Pete, and he was like, no, but I rehearsed this so many times. So he gets like caught. And then there's Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
What'd she do?
She just like acts like she doesn't care for a long time during the episode, like nothing's changing. And then Kenneth comes and removes her mirror from her dressing room, and that makes her like sad that the show's gonna be over.
Well, there's a part where she says she's gonna go do movies, and like she flies out to LA, and everyone's like young and hot, and then she immediately turns around
like in the airport.
Yeah.
Not even.
And the girl that talks to her is just Suri, but in a wig.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah, that was the girl who plays Suri.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the whole joke throughout the whole show is that Suri's just like super hot and just does whatever, like people just do whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like they ask her stuff and she's like super dumb and doesn't get it. Like she just kind of like gets everything delivered to her.
Like the writer people,
she
assistant or whatever?
Yeah, she's like the assistant to the writer room people.
I'm following.
Yeah.
So then Jenna says she's going to do Broadway, and at the very end, she's like going up to accept an award, which then another woman says like, "They called my name. What are you doing?" She didn't actually like win the award,
right? And then she flashes the camera.
Oh yeah.
And then we had one or two celebrity cameos. Ones that don't count.
One or two, or three or four.
Ones that don't count are Selma Hayek and Julianne Moore, who were regulars on the show at some point.
Fine.
Ice-T, right?
Is that how you pronounce it? Ice-T?
Ice it.
Iced.
Iced was on there, and also the
Munch,
the white dude who's also on that
his
Law and Order show. Munch. So you don't even know what his real name is?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, not a cameo.
I mean,
we knew who Ice-T was.
They're a pair,
and we're giving it to you anyway, Jimmy, because the other ones that were on there were Nancy Pelosi.
That's herself.
Everybody knew who Nancy Pelosi was. Al Roker. Everybody knows who Al Roker is. And then Conan in a weird green screen thing. It's like it was Conan interacting with Liz Lemon, but they were on the elevator together, but it was very obviously green screened, and it looked really weird. And it was
call
like
to something. I don't know.
They were probably just, I don't know if it is. I feel like they were just like, yo, Conan's a joke in the show every once in a while that Conan and Liz dated. That is like a reoccurring joke.
Oh,
like from season 1.
Oh. Well, then I get it.
But it's like rare. They talk about it.
They
maybe talk about it once every season, maybe like an offhand thing. So I think they just did it. And they were like, "Oh, we want to keep this joke going.
Here's a bit.
One more time."
We never followed through.
Hey, Conan, what are you doing? He's like, "Oh, busy." I'm like, "Can you just green screen 3 lines, and we'll figure it out?"
That makes it even kind of funnier to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that it was just an offhand bit, and then they make it like, oh, he couldn't even like be bothered to come.
He's probably
to this
busy
line.
working his own job. Yeah.
He's not busy.
What else did I miss?
All of Jack stuff.
Oh yeah. Jack is
a whole thing.
Jack is the Cabletown CEO, but he's essentially having like basically a midlife crisis. Trying to figure out that like the job he's been working for his entire life is not fulfilling for him.
Yeah, because he's just won the game already.
Yeah, he did it. He won, and then he like quits, and then he decides to go. He picks a fight with Liz, or they pick a fight with each other. But I don't. What was the fight about?
Ones to do. I don't know.
Was it just like they're not going to be sad that they're parting ways or something?
I don't exactly remember, but
they were in some sort of skirmish. And then at the end, he's like, "I'm gonna go on this boat and I'm gonna find myself." And she's like, "Okay, bye. We made up. Everything's good." And then he boats off, and about 13 seconds later, he's like, "I figured it out. I'm coming back."
Well, he started that fight because he wanted to make it look like he's gonna kill himself.
Oh yeah, Jack did.
Yeah. And then so that Liz would try to stop him, and that was his like trick to try to lure her to like say goodbye to him on his boat. He jumps off the bridge, and makes it look like he's like jumping into the water, but really he's just jumping onto his boat.
Yeah. And then he decides to be in charge again. And then when he's in charge again, he's in charge of like something in GE as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, he just went back to because he turned around screaming, "Clear dishwashers!"
Yeah.
So it was. So you can see what's going on in there.
I'm into that.
Which would be very interesting.
That
Yeah, I
sounds
want to
fun.
see what's going on.
That sounds fun to me.
Why don't I have all my appliances clear? Why is my oven not clear? I totally want to see what's going on.
Yeah,
in
why is
there.
my microwave not clear?
Yeah.
Are we running out of glass?
Why is my fridge like not clear?
I mean, that's probably not a good insulator. But so Liz's whole deal, then she goes, and so then she's done her last official episode of TGS.
Well, it was like done, and then they re-upped it for
was
one
already
more
done,
episode.
right?
Yeah.
But so she's going back to work, and
One more time.
her end thing was that she's got a spin-off. Wah, 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 wah. Grizz and Hers.
Yeah, starring
Tracy's
Grizz.
bodyguard Grizz.
I wonder if it was Grizz's fiance or wife.
Oh.
Fiance.
Like in real life.
No, Grizz's wife in the show is named Fiance.
Oh, okay. Right on.
I
Could
saw they got married in one of the last episodes that I watched. So at some point, his fiance was named Fiance.
What else?
It's like Beyonce but fiance.
What else? Kenneth is the president, and when we see his office, it looks like a grandma's like living room. He's got like a quilt.
Yeah, it looks like
on the back of
Roseanne's
the
couch.
Yeah.
He does have a cookie jar on the coffee table, and that is the cookie jar that Jack gave him in like season 2 or 3. Because Jack used to collect cookie jars.
I was wondering, so there's like a reoccurring joke thing that he is like, that Kenneth is
Immortal.
like,
Or
yeah,
at least super old.
or just like really crazy old.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did do a bit at the very, very end where it's like the future and this is all a dream inside Kenneth's head, and that this, or like this,
It's in Kenneth's,
he's imagining it because
in
a
his snow
different
globe.
lady named Liz Lemon is pitching it to him. And he's holding a snow globe like St. Elsewhere.
Well, okay, so what happens is the show ends, and the show is like produced by Lorne Michaels, and then they do a 1 year later like kind of post epilogue, and then at the end of that it like zooms out of a snow globe that Kenneth is holding, and then a woman across from him who has like curly hair and glasses says that like, oh yeah, and like that's all the stories that are going on in that snow globe, and like my great grandma told me these stories. And then he says, and then Kenneth says, oh, I know they do lemon or something like that.
He said Liz Lemon.
Liz Lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think we're led to believe that for as much as we're going to put stock in like this little 5-second bit at the end,
Yeah.
that's Liz Lemon's like descendant.
Yeah, and he's just the same age.
Yeah. And
Kenneth
that's still
is-
Kenneth. And because he says something like, yeah, I know, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I like that a lot.
I think in a way it's like a St. Elsewhere's joke,
Mhm.
but also then,
That
but
he's
not
still
really. That's
immortal.
not really happening. It's also just like Kenneth's talking to like the descendant of Liz Lemon, and it's
Yeah.
still fucking Kenneth because he's still old. They have that
Same
one.
old
They have that
Kenneth.
one joke where they're like playing a tone, and like Jenna's like, why is it so loud? And like only people over the age of 40 can hear this, and like Kenneth like walks in the room and he's like, what's happening to me? And like Kenneth is definitely not supposed to be 40
Yeah.
Right.
in the show. So how'd you feel about this as an end?
That's fun. I mean, it does like it starts out pretty classic, where it's just like one last thing, like let's do one last episode of TGS.
Mm-hmm.
And, like everybody
Mhm.
gets a moment, and then they tie everything off. Liz and Jack tell each other that they love each other. That's nice.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely
did.
seems like it's a singularly contained episode
Yeah.
where everyone's like problems that lead to the end kind of shoot up right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe like Liz wasn't working in the last couple episodes, like that led up to that, and maybe Jack got like promoted in the penultimate episode or something like that.
Yeah.
Like some of these things might have happened, but like Jack finally got his goal maybe, and in the last episode he's having a problem with that. He's like, I've done it, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Liz doesn't have a job, doesn't realize, like, so you know, the setup was probably before, but they have real problems that can be solved within one episode.
Yeah, it's kind of just like one last adventure.
Yeah.
I'd feel like if you were really invested in these characters and wanted like a satisfying quote unquote ending, it might fall a little flat just in terms of like Jack just goes back to being a GE man, and like Liz ends up just working on a different TV show. Like there isn't really much of like a big like, oh, like this is what it was leading to,
right? I'm wondering
now
if
Liz
like,
is the head of GE or whatever.
I'm wondering if like Liz's payoff almost already happened, if she's like with a dude and has
she has
kids
a family,
and stuff, and that's kind of like the thing she was missing in her own, like kind of in her own mind, developing from, you know, the beginning up until the later seasons. Like somewhere in like season 3, I think, is when she's like, I want a kid, and like, why am I not like married, kind of thing. So maybe that stuff kind of like pays off for her already, and then just her shenanigans, because she's almost reliving. She's in a way, half of it she's reliving episode 1 where she's like chasing Tracy.
Yeah.
Again. I mean,
Yeah, which is a fun bookend.
But yeah, I don't.
They end up back at the strip club. And
Yeah.
he's singing Pat Benatar again.
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah, you're right. I'm a little bummed about like Jack really has no movement
Yeah.
by any means.
A lot of the characters, at least career-wise, are pretty much where they started, except for Kenneth.
Kenneth is far above. I mean, like, what's Tracy doing at the end of this? He's just
Liz just called him on his birthday, and he like met up with his dad.
okay. So yeah,
you assume he's still just like a movie star.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Jenna's just being ridiculous still.
Yeah, she's still
So
like
I mean, as far as like
actress.
Jenna's character's wants go, like she's still causing a scene, so like her character's still happy, kind of thing. So I don't know. I guess I would say for the most part, I kind of assume that Liz's stuff maybe has been paid off already, and she's just kind of working the story, and then kind of just ending it with Jack. But then Jack's payoff isn't. I don't know where he goes. Like I don't know what he did in the last couple seasons, because I haven't seen those. But
yeah, some of the stuff it pays off in terms of like relationship and like plot wise, but in terms of like character arc, the characters pretty much start where they began.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Which is
Super
whatever.
cool.
I mean, that's not why I watched
it's not
this show.
it's not MASH. You know,
Yeah.
it's a sitcom still. So I don't think the level of necessity for like mega closures there. But I mean, I could see. I guess of all of them, I would have liked to see Jack have like more of a thing, because like he was so like not about what he was doing, and he seemed to just go back to it.
Well, I think
Or at
that
least
was
a
the big
portion of it.
thing, right? Is that the whole series, Jack is super sure of himself and is telling Liz how she can be that. And then now he's fallen apart, and that's like a big thing for Liz. She's like, wait, this whole time you've been giving me all this advice and stuff, and now you're saying like it's all for nothing. And
Yeah,
You don't really know what you're talking about.
so I feel like then she probably has some growth.
that's pretty good.
From that.
You just have to take a lot of weight into that like 3-minute conversation they had, 2-minute conversation that they had in the middle of the last episode. So you got to take a lot of weight into that to like do it.
Well, it's interesting because Liz, like even in the pilot, she has this like oh, it's like mousy little Liz, but then at the end of the pilot, she like walks in like a badass and takes control and makes it all okay. And I feel like that's kind of a whole part to her character, is that she's kind of this like quiet type A person, but then she just walks in and just fucking owns it.
Oh, and then subplot, Lutz ruins everything.
Yeah, the writing team's trying to order lunch, and it's Lutz's turn.
whole
I
subplot
don't
is just
get
like
any of that, not having seen a lot of this show, but that was very
the
funny.
only thing I know for sure is one other time in the show that I've seen is they talk about so whose turn is it to order food, and one time it was Lutz's like in season 2, and he was like Subway, and everyone was so mad.
Is that how you guys feel whenever I order Caffrey's?
Love Caffrey's.
No, Caffrey's is good.
Big fans of the show.
Caffrey's is good.
Caffrey. Great subs.
All in all, I think I'm happy with the
Very
episode.
fresh.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, I guess I would have liked a little bit more props from my boy Jack. But besides that, I mean, still sitcom, still pleasant. Kenneth was hilarious.
They made a Mad Men reference.
I'm happy with it.
Mad Men.
Yeah. Good times. Great oldies.
Are you excited and happy, Joe? Or do you hate this show now forever?
It was fine. Like it was enjoyable. It wasn't insulting in any way. I don't know that like I would put it up there. Like if you were to ask me about like great finales, I don't know that I would think of this. It was just a good episode.
Yeah, I think the show probably overshadows its ending for sure. Like just the entirety of the show is like watch 30 Rock, pick any episode, better than the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Agreed. Predictions? How'd we do, Joe?
Okay.
You went first last time.
I feel like I got some. I think Liz buys a hot dog.
Nope.
No. TGS has a new head writer. It's got to be someone, if not Liz, right?
Well, it doesn't have anything because they were
The
doing
show's
one.
over?
They were doing literally. They had a conversation with Kenneth, and he was like, "We're doing one more show, and contractually, Liz, you have to be the head writer for it
Okay, so she is the head writer of TGS.
of the single show that they just did."
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
it's ending,
So no
yeah.
point there, I guess. Yep. And that Tracy Jordan has a non-entertainment NBC job. I don't think that's true. And that Jenna sings, and she did.
Yes.
She did. She sang a song about the rural juror.
Yeah, from the Rural Juror musical.
And I heard about 3 words of it
That was the
I
point.
understood.
That was the point. My first one was hot dogs. There was none.
0.
But second one was
Sushi.
TGS ends, which they had their last episode.
Yeah.
Jack
Good
wears
call.
a tuxedo. He was wearing suits the whole time,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Liz gets
And
married.
boating gear.
She did not. Who knows if she is married?
Who knows?
Who's to tell? And then Brad Pitt.
Brad
Pitt.
Brood Poot is the guest star, and he was Newt. So I only got one.
I really thought TGS ending was going to be wrong.
Oh yeah.
You thought like someone else was going to take up the mantle? Or,
Yeah,
or
I
it
just-
would just
Or like
be-
it was just they were going to continue. Like they're like 30 Rock's over. The show, the TGS is still going. These people are still.
I just
working on
thought that they would have kept it going because like SNL is everlasting. So why would
Yeah,
TGS
that makes
end?
sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
yeah.
closure for all our parts. So we as viewers don't have to just worry about what we're missing from TGS.
Okay, I had Jack retires / Liz is the new Jack. And
No. If anything, Kenneth is the new Jack.
yeah. Then I had 3+ cameos.
Yeah, we'll give that to you.
I'll
Ice-T,
take that.
Pelosi, Roker, and Conan.
Yeah,
That's at least 4.
at least 4.
4.5. 4.5 if you count Munch.
4 and a munch.
I'm not counting that
Foreign
person
Munch?
as
4
a
point
celebrity.
munch.
And then that show's been on for decades. And then Tracy is in like a movie as a B plot that wasn't there, and hints to a spinoff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Grizz and hers.
They actually like put the like fake what do you call that?
Lower third?
Whatever.
Lower third. It's called a lower third.
Is that what you call it?
Yep. It's on the lower third
Where
of the
it
screen.
where it sneaks out and it's like just advertising the new thing, but then like Liz calls attention to it. Like, wait, what's going on down there?
Yeah, it's called the lower third. I'll give you that point. I'm wondering whether or not you meant a spin-off in real life and not a spin-off in
Doesn't
the
matter.
TV show.
wrote hints to spin-off. So
I know what you said and what you wrote, but I don't know what you meant. Is that 2 points?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. You can have 2 points. We only got
Thanks.
one episode left
Oh,
of season
God.
15.
Whatever.
Season 5. And
15.
I'm going to tell you right now, Jimmy, you're going to need the points if you're going to try to win.
Well.
Because someone's in the lead.
Uh-oh.
And it's not you.
Uh-oh. Is it you?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, okay.
But it's close. I'll tell you that. It is close. That's it. That's all we have for today. If you want to talk to us or hit us up, give us show suggestions and whatnot, you can hit us up on the Twitters or the Gmails at FNL Podcast.
Tweeter machines.
There's celestial beings called stars that you can do, up to 5 of them.
Like the stars.
5 celestial beings.
There are 5 whole stars in the universe.
And you can use them to rate our podcast. You saw what we'd like.
There are 5.
Like we've been saying, there's one more episode of season 5 of First and Last. I believe it's my show pick.
Ooh.
So suck on that,
Yeah.
listeners. Pick something good, and then after that we'll have First and Lasties 5.
Yeah.
Dang.
You got a lot of good episodes this season, so
Pretty
if you're
solid. Got to look back.
if you got some
Lassie
free
Strike
time
Back.
and you're just listening to podcasts, go ahead and look through that backlog.
If you're quarantined,
If you're quarantined, for sure, tweet and let us know what you
we
thought
will
was
keep
the best
content
episode.
rolling.
It'd be fun to get some superlatives from the listeners.
Mhm.
But that's all
Special
we.
quarantine, first and last.
God, we're gonna be doing all of this from a bubble. But with that, we will see you next week on another episode. Goodbye.
I'd like to point out that Josh just said bubble butt.